All right, our last video for this objective for utilizing the unit circle is going to involve going backwards. So I didn't type it here, but just so you know, if you saw a problem that said like cosine of x is equal to negative root 2 over 2, you would end up with cosine going to the other side and becoming an inverse cosine, and that would look like this. So each of these is solving for an angle, even though it's just giving you the expression right away. Cosine is the x value. So what this is saying is, when is the x value equal to negative root 2 over 2? And that's what these are all saying. Obviously, cosine and sine are different and tangent is different, but it's asking for what angle gives you this x value. So we're going to look at the unit circle, and we're just going to look at all the x values, and we're going to find when that occurs. So I see one right here. Negative root 2 over 2 is the x value for 135 degrees in the middle of quadrant 2. And I see one down here. Negative root 2 over 2 is the x value of 225. We usually get two answers on the unit circle, but sometimes just one. So there are two answers here. They are, as I said, 135 degrees, and they are 225 degrees. Now, we would like to stop there, but there's one more thing we have to write, and this is important. You remember coterminal angles. So 135 degrees is right here, but if I went another 360, I would get the same place, and that obviously would have the same x value. So we have to write more than just 135. Now, it should be pretty obvious. I don't want to keep going around and adding 360 over and over and over again, because that means I would have to write an infinite amount of answers. But I do want to represent that. So what we do is we write plus 360k. Now, I don't really know who came up with k, but what this represents is 135 degrees and all coterminal angles. The purpose of this, if like k is 1, that means you're adding 360 once. If k is 2, that means you're adding 360 twice. If k is negative 18, that means you're subtracting 360 18 times. It basically says this angle we were looking for and all coterminal angles that go with it. It just kind of covers everything it possibly could. So we'll do that for 225 also. 225 degrees plus 360k. Now obviously, it's really easy to remember to add this, but it's also very easy to forget. So, just make sure if you're finding the angle that you include all coterminal angles. Next one, inverse sine of 0. That means sine, which is the y value, when is that equal to 0? So let's see. I see it once right there, y value is equal to 0. That's at 0 degrees. And I see it once over here, the y value is equal to 0 at 180 degrees. So that's what we need to write. This is 0 degrees plus 360k, so plus all of the coterminal angles, and 180 degrees plus 360k. So this is everything. Every possible angle, coterminal or not, whether it's way up in the tens of thousands, is included in here somewhere. Our last example is a tangent one, and to be honest, other than sine and cosine, tangent, secant, cosecant, and cotangent can all get a little bit tricky, but it helps that you've probably already gone forward so many times. Now, when is tangent equal to root 3? Well, tangent is never on the unit circle, but I know from experience that tangent is equal to sine of some angle over cosine of that same angle. And just from experience, if it's root 3, then it's really root 3 over 1, and then thinking backwards, well, I know when that happened. It was really root 3 over 2 and 1 over 2, right? There's only so many numbers on the unit circle. Root 3 is never there by itself, but it is like this. So basically, I want to know when is the y value equal to root 3 over 2 and the x value equal to 1 over 2, because that's sine and cosine. So I look at the unit circle. And that appears to happen right here at 60 degrees. The y value is root 3 over 2, and the x value is 1 over 2. So one of my answers is going to be 60 degrees plus 360k. And then finally, again, just from experience, you probably know that the other way that this could occur is if they're both negative, because then the negatives would cancel out and would become positive. So I will look around until I find that, and it turns out to be exactly across the unit circle, down here at 240 degrees. Negative root 3 over 2 is the y value, that's the sine, and negative 1 over 2 is the x value, that is the cosine. So my other answer here is 240 degrees plus all the coterminal angles, which is 360K. In each of these three examples, we ended up with 2 angles plus other coterminal angles. But just so you know, as you go through this, sometimes you will get just 1 angle, and that usually occurs if it's one of the corner points. So this was our last video for the unit circle. We were finding the angles that gave us these particular trig values.